some people do that. They look at franchises or they buy other people's businesses. And people are going to retire, stuff like that. So you're looking at it, and you leaned a lot on your dad's education and knowledge and experience of doing that work and being in that industry. Did you kind of have that sticker shock of how much money you guys were bringing in, or what it's done in the past and stuff like that? So
yeah, I mean, like you said, it really, I'd tell you what I leaned on my dad more than anything. It's the fact that I knew he knew how to run that type of business, but just the guts, because he had been working for himself my whole life. I mean, my dad had always worked for himself, so it wasn't a scary thing to him. To me, man, there was a period of time where daily I was dealing with personal fears, worries about this or that or the other. And eventually I just had to realize there's no guarantee. People go get a job and they think they have security. I mean, people were getting laid off all the time at the bank I was working at because it was 08, it was 09. And I walked in the door at 09. It was May or April of 2009. I walked in and said, I'm leaving. Well, heck, I might have gotten fired.
Right.
I don't
They were
know.
probably happy. Oh, man, we were getting ready to fire.
I guarantee you they didn't replace me.
Right.
So... but the thing I kind of began to realize is, if I'm working for myself, I have more security because maybe I have 10 clients or maybe I have 20 clients. Well, all 20 of them would have to fire me before I'd lose all my income.
Right.
At least I have always. So a big thing for me is I heard somebody one time say they were believing God for 5 sources of income, And so I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Because most people have one source of income, or maybe 2 if their spouse is working. So maybe them and their spouse have a job, and that's their income, just that. And when you start thinking about having multiple sources of income, I remember being at the bank, and one of the things that always struck me, because I would look at all the tax returns of wealthy people, because typically what I saw come through my desk would be millions of dollars worth of loans, the multi-million-dollar loans. And so I would get their tax returns and all their K-1 statements and all their personal financial statements. And you would look through it and you would see that their incomes were not based on, this is how much I'm making at this job, or this is how much I'm making at this business. It would be many businesses, many entities they would have. And maybe one of those businesses would be called East Forest Street, because it would be a apartment complex on that street, and they would name it the address of that street, and that would be it. And they would be in that entity with 2 or 3 other investors, and they would all combine in that, and it would make this amount of money, and they would take a draw of X amount. And so they might have 2 or 3 businesses they're running, and then 6 or 8 real estate entities that they had, and all that combined collectively is what produced the wealth. And so I began to think about, well, how do I do that? How do I get multiple streams of income? And so it just over time, as I began to think about it, and as I began to know that's something I wanted to achieve, it began to happen. I began to get a little bit of money every month from this little